Francisco. I'm Danny Tanner.
And I'm Rebecca Donaldson. Last month, we reported that a famous UFC fighter, Kate Warren, was in a tragic car accident.
This news left America in shock, questioning if Kate will be able to make it in time for her fight against Ronda Rousey in October.
Her remarkable recovery is to follow, with our news reporter, Krista McGraw, who is live in Los Angeles with Kate and her trainer.
Thank you, Rebecca. I'm here at Gold Star Gym with Megan Wright, who is Kate Warren's trainer. She is going to explain the UFC champ's remarkable road to recovery.
Last month, Kate's accident left her unable to use her left arm and shoulder. To strengthen those muscles, we have been working on bench pressing because it simulates the same motions that she uses when fighting. It also works on the same muscles, but is a lot less strenuous. The three main muscles that we've been focusing on to produce flexion are the biceps brachii, the anterior deltoid, and the pectoralis major. The biceps brachii originate on the coracoid process and the supraglenoid tubercle. The insertion is on the radial tuberosity, the action is flexion, and the nerve is the musculocutaneous. The anterior deltoid originates on the lateral surface of the clavicle and inserts on the deltoid tuberosity of the humerus. The actions are flexion, medial rotation, abduction, and horizontal adduction, and the nerve is the axillary. The pectoralis major originates on the clavicular head and the sternal head, inserts on the bicipital groove, and the actions include flexion, adduction, medial rotation, and horizontal adduction. The nerve that goes off of is the pectoral, and the action that we're focused on all three of these muscles for the most part is flexion. Do you have any questions for Kate?
Yes, I do. Kate, do you think you'll be fully recovered and ready to fight by October?
I think it'll be a long recovery, but I believe I'll be ready.
How do you think you match up against UFC's famous Ronda Rousey?
She's very competitive, but I'm ready to kick some.
Go.
So during the first phase, the shoulder girdle is doing elevation and protraction, and that is concentric. The shoulder is doing flexion and horizontal abduction, which is also concentric. The elbow is doing flexion, which is isometric. The forearm is isometric, but it is pronated. The wrist is slightly extended, and that is eccentric. The thumb is extended, flexed, abducted, and adducted throughout the whole phase, and that is both concentric and all of that. And the fingers are flexed, and that is concentric.
So for this phase, the shoulder girdle is doing protraction. The type of contraction for this motion is concentric. The shoulder is performing flexion, and the contraction type for this is also concentric. The elbow is doing extension, and the contraction type for this is concentric. The forearm is doing no motion at all, is isometric. The wrist is doing extension. This is a concentric type contraction. The thumb is doing nothing, and this is an isometric type contraction. And the fingers are also doing no motion, and this is an isometric contraction.
For phase 3, the shoulder girdle is producing retraction, which is an eccentric contraction. The shoulder is producing horizontal abduction, which is also eccentric, and the elbow is producing flexion, which is also eccentric. The forearm, there is no motion. It is supinated, but it is not moving from the bottom or the top to the bottom, so that's isometric. The wrist, there is also no movement, so it's isometric. The thumb and the fingers both have no movement, so they're both isometric.
4, the shoulder girdle is protracted with concentric contraction. The shoulder has horizontal adduction and is also concentric contraction. The elbow is slightly flexed and has concentric contraction. The forearm has no motion and is isometric, along with the wrist, which also has no motion and is isometric. The thumb has no motion and is isometric, and the fingers also show no motion and are isometric.
In the last phase, the shoulder girdle is retracted, upward rotated, and elevated. But all of these are a concentric contraction. The shoulder is flexed and horizontal abducted, and this is also a concentric contraction. The elbow is slightly flexed, and this is isometric. The forearm has no motion, and this is isometric. The wrist performs flexion, and this is a concentric contraction. And both the thumbs and the fingers both have no motion and both are isometric.
Good night, San Francisco.
Thank you, Rebecca. I'm here at
Concentric type contraction.
forearm has no motion and is isometric.
In the last phase, the shoulder girdle is retracted, upward retract.